This stream is not sponsored by. Okay. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Why don't we just start it? Because I feel like I should just start it there. All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Bam. They can't hear that, but that's okay. We cheered.
We cheers did
We
it.
kanpai. So
What?
it's kanpai means cheers in Japanese. Zach, get your mind out of the gutter. Am I still slouching? Hold on. What? I feel like I'm not, but maybe I am. I don't know. Welcome back to Uned, I guess.
Hi.
Hello, audio listeners. Like, what the hell?
We always refer to the audio listeners just kind of in the third person and also directly
I
at
will
the same
continue
time.
doing it because the audio listeners will forever be confused if they're not watching.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny because like I forget that people are watching or listening to the audio only, and so they don't see just all of the random shit that we do throughout episodes.
They don't. But to be fair, I listen to like visual. If they have a visual format, mainly, I usually listen to it. Even if it's on YouTube, I'll turn my phone off and then I'll just listen to it. So,
Why could I hear that so well?
what do you mean? Oh, that's interesting. Why can't you hear it so well? Anyways, there's microphones in these, Zach.
What?
These Chinese headphones, there's microphones in them so they can hear too, Zach. We've discovered it.
That was so weird. I could hear it.
I can hear it too, right on my right ear. That's
And
great. Well, I mean, it's because it's going into the mic. Well, is it? I don't know. There's mics in these headphones, Zach,
I
so
don't
they
know
can
what's
hear
going
they
on.
can hear what we're saying. The Chinese government, as we know it very well. Dude, that's so strange.
Wait, could you actually
Yes, I
hear it?
could.
Oh.
And the thing is, that's weird, is that it only came up on my left. Wait, this might not even come up in the recording. Maybe this is only the headphones. Maybe audio. Maybe now the audio and the visual listeners are confused. This is crazy.
This is only us.
This
Wait,
is
hang on.
us,
Hang on, watch. Hello.
dude. That only comes up in my right ear, Zach. And these are mono headphones, or these are mono mics. These mics are in mono. That's so strange. Dude, what? Okay, anyways. What are we talking about? Oh, recently.
yeah.
Yes, recently I got you to watch Josie, the movie, because it aired in theaters. It came out in December, on Christmas, December 25th. And your boy sat here, guy like me, was sitting here
Uh-huh.
for 7 months, waiting. And then it came out. I'm like, let's go.
and then there's me, where I literally knew nothing about this movie, and you were like, "Do you want to watch the trailer?" And I was like, I'm gonna go into it blind." And
Yeah,
you're
you
like,
go
"Okay."
into it blind. I offered the trailer, you didn't watch it. But if you guys don't know, so Josie the Tiger and the Fish, or Josie to Tora to Sakana Tachi. It is a very interesting. It's a drama, first and foremost. And if anybody knows a lot about Asian dramas, Thai dramas, Korean dramas, there's this very roller coastery, and things kind of just happen, like a lot of things happen.
Yeah.
Things happen. So it's a fun movie. And it's about, let's see, I won't even read the synopsis. I got this. So basically,
You got this.
it's some college students. Okay, well, I needed the character names, though. It's been a while. Well, Josie, of course. Tsueno, there we go. Or Tsuneo. Tsuneo. So, Tsuneo, the main hero, I guess, or main character, main dude. He's a college student. He's going into a aquamarine. Is that the right word? Aquamarine type of career.
I think it was marine biology.
Marine biology, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Aquamarine, that's a color. All right.
I'm going to school for aquamarine.
I dropped out of school. So, he's going to school for that, and he was going to what? He's going home. No, he's going home from work because he works in a diving school. They are based in. Sorry, tangenting now from the synopsis. So this is based in Osaka, Japan. So, which I didn't know. So it's very interesting because you don't get it very much. And I was talking about it. I was telling you while we were leaving how much I like freaked out over that. And you won't understand until you start learning Japanese a little bit. But it's so cool because it's just a different dialect. So they
Right.
speak ever so slightly different than what I'm learning. or what I've learned, because I'm not learning at the moment anymore because I'm busy. But it's very cool to hear. It's just ever so slightly different the way they enunciate, and then the way they end their sentences. Like one might say, one might end with des, and then in Osaka, or at least in this example, they end with ya. So it's very interesting. I love that so much. So I also learned that in Osaka, it's a very it's a diving culture.
Right. Yeah.
That's what I've learned. So I thought that was just kind of like a not quirk, but just a part of the show. But no, Osaka and like diving and all that type of stuff is a thing there. So that's cool that's cool that was portrayed in the movie. So Tsuneo, he works in a diving store, and he's going home, and there's this girl, her name is Josie. She's in a wheelchair. And she wants to see the ocean and experience all sorts of things, but she's stuck because she's in a wheelchair, right?
Right.
So that's basically a story about one person, being her caretaker, basically, and taking her to different places and experiencing different things. And it's basically the movie. And then things just fucking happen.
Things just kept fucking happening.
I don't know. So here's the thing. I have watched not a lot, but a good handful of anime movies at the time. First and foremost, love this movie.
I love this movie.
Yes, I love this movie as well. It was great. It was very cute. It was very wholesome. Very roller coasty, and the movie theater experience was great, which I would like to talk about that as well.
I mean, it was great for the most part.
For the most part, there was something, but I'll get into that. Fuck kids. Anyways,
don't fuck kids.
No, Zach. Well, I mean, don't do that. But oh god. No. So I lost my train of thought. Fuck.
I tend to do that to you a lot.
You do. I mean, you're not wrong, but come on now. That's not what I meant. So what am I trying to get at? Okay, you take the reins. I lost myself.
So you were talking about this girl, Josie, who was in a wheelchair.
I remember now.
There you
I don't
go.
think we're gonna get into spoiler talk too much, because I've seen a lot of movies, and like I said, I really enjoyed this movie, but I can't say it's probably up there amongst the best anime movies, or even the notable movies and stuff like that, like the Your Names and the Silent Voices and those type of movies. Not taking anything off this type of movie, because this type of movie and this movie itself, Josie the Tiger and the Fish, was a great movie, and you should watch it. You should. It might, by the time you're watching this, it's no longer in theaters, but there are ways to watch it, and I'll leave it at that. So go ahead and give it a watch, because it's a very, very cute watch, very wholesome, and I love it a lot. So
yeah, and one of the things that I loved about this movie was just the way that we've talked about this all the time, like the world building, the way that the world is created, and obviously it's based around like the real world, but also at the same time the way that they built the characters in such a way to where they complement each other in ways that you wouldn't necessarily expect.
Yes.
And so in Josie's perspective, like, you know, she is just a girl in a wheelchair, but she's also an artist, and also I don't know if this is going into spoiler territory or not. I don't think it is, but no.
I don't know. I don't think so. Artist part? Oh,
yeah.
no, that's fine.
Okay. So she had never been to the ocean, but she'll sit there and draw fish and draw the ocean and, you know, draw Atlantis and like all of that really cool stuff.
Yes.
And so their two characters complement each other really well.
Yes.
And that's really cool because, you know, initially when Josie's grandma was like, "You're her caretaker," he was like, what?
Huh? Here? What?
What?
You what, mate? No, it was definitely just very sporadic and random, but it was kind of fun because it was like, I mean, he said he was looking for another job too, and he ended up getting a job, and it paid well, so that's good for him. And it also was their dynamic of her getting it's kind of funny, the dynamic of her getting used to Tsuneo in the way that she described the cat, how it's like the cat doesn't Like the cat isn't because in the beginning the cat that was in the stray cat that was at their house was not a very fond of Tsuneo, but then over
Right.
time he does. So I thought that parallel was kind of funny. Thinking of it now, it's kind of Josie the same way. How Josie was like, no, why are you in my house? You're a stranger. You don't belong here. You're not my caretaker, etc., etc. And then as they develop, they get better. That's a funny parallel I just thought of, but I really enjoyed just the pacing of it a lot. How it was kind of slow paced, because I feel like this is gonna get into the theater aspect of it and why I'll just jump right into it. So we went to watch it in the theaters, right? And it was a great experience. This is the second anime movie I've seen in the theaters. The first one I've seen was the Konosuba movie, which great experience. Man, I gotta tell you, for the longest time I always thought watching anime movies in the theaters was kind of odd because, like, I don't know, I can't grasp the idea of, like, imagine it was a sad anime, right? A very emotional sad anime. You know, wouldn't you rather watch it, like, I don't know, in your bed, bundled up in a blanket or some shit by yourself, and then you don't have to talk, you don't have to feel the presence of other people, you don't have to hear other people, because you can just fully immerse and dive into this world, right? Get some good headphones or something and turn the lights off or something, have an experience by yourself. And I mean, this goes for like any type of movie, right? But for me, anime movies, or just anime in general, where you really have to immerse yourself, I feel like, it's much better to watch that stuff alone. Then I go and watch Konosuba. So Konosuba is a comedy anime. And that is, I think, where it's said a little different of why a theater viewing could be a lot more fun. Because while I was there, everybody was laughing and everybody was having a time. And I thought about it. Oh, that's right. Because anime, while it's getting a lot more popular now, it's still, in my opinion, a little more niche, especially when you move away from mainstream.
Right.
If I go to a Konosuba movie, everybody in there has watched Konosuba. Everybody in there has watched both seasons. Everybody in there has maybe even read the light novel. We're all Konosuba fans. We all know the comedy style of Konosuba, the pacing of Konosuba, and just we all know Konosuba, right? So whenever there's a punchline, whenever there's a reference, whenever there's anything, everybody is laughing. Everybody is having a good time, and that was my number one best experience in a theater ever.
Hell yeah.
Because it was just so much fun. Like, the jokes are always fun. Like, oh man, I can't wait until you end up watching Konosuba because it's just so funny. It'll really lighten your day, I promise. But yeah, it's like being like, when you have that niche hobby that you have, right?
Right.
That not a lot of people know about, and you bring it up and they're like, I don't really, I mean, I know of it, or I'm not really into it. But now I'm in a theater full of a bunch of these guys into the same things that I'm into.
A bunch of weebs.
A bunch of fucking weebs and losers.
Yeah.
And we're having a time. And that's
having a grand old
we're
time,
having
yeah.
a grand old time. And I know we're tangenting from the movie, which was the point of it, but that gets me into like things like cons, like Comic-Con and anime cons and stuff like that, where people can just like go to these conventions and just be a loser, and just have fun, be themselves, shout anime things in the I mean, that's a little cringe, but just like do, or maybe not, it's them, because they can do that, because why not? They can just just go all out, because who can just weeb out, who can do that?
Exactly, yeah.
You can't do, because I mean, not even just because it's weeb and weird stuff and anime stuff in the public. I mean, you can't just like, I can't just be like a super massive fan of like guitars and how they work and then just go into the streets and start shouting that shit, because I'd be a fucking sociopath or a psychopath,
Yeah,
like,
you'd just be one of the crackhead homeless people who's just running around screaming a bunch of random stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm talking about downtown Portland, by the way. But
oh man,
one of the things that I found really fascinating about being in the theater and watching an anime movie was that was the first time I'd ever seen an anime movie in the theaters. Mm-hmm. And so it was definitely really fascinating for me, and it was kind of weird because it was just like off in like the back of the movie theater, and it was just like very like the smallest movie theater that they had, or like the smallest
it was the it was at the, when you're going to your theater, or like your, what do you call it, your room, I guess, your or just your theater, right? Or
Yeah.
the theater being the place you go in, the room you're in, where you
Yeah.
sit and watch the fucking movie. The room, it's in the very far back, Josie. You know, you pass the Venoms and you pass the whatever movies is out right now, fucking Notebook 2, I don't know, and you had.
I have no idea, by the way.
I have no idea either. But you pass all of them, and then you go to Josie at the very end. But it was still packed.
Yeah.
It was still full. You know what's funny, actually? It wasn't completely full, but I scienced it out. There was 3 seats on the end, and I picked 2 of them, and I was like, okay, surely one single person isn't going to take that seat, like, next to us to fill the entire row, because there's only one available seat next to us.
Right.
And for whatever reason, like, despite COVID, I mean, you know, COVID, by the time you probably see this, you know, mask lift and all that type of stuff, but still, you know, keeping distance between each other is, you know, still kind of here, no matter what. Excuse me. You're not allowed to have a seat, or you're not allowed to get tickets for seats. So you get assigned seats. You buy your seat for the ticket, which I don't think is how theaters normally go.
No.
But you're not allowed to buy them a seat apart from another person. So you have to be together. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? There's no point in that. So I was just like, okay, well, I'll just buy the 2 seats next to the people, and then we moved 1 seat over. So now there was me, a space, and then a person there. So basically, if someone bought this seat, there would have been a very awkward alteration. Someone walked, hey, that's my seat, and you're like, oh shit, my bad. And then we we'll do the whole thing while the movie's going. And
Okay, it's so funny that you mentioned that, though, because I've been in those types of situations before where it's like, yo, you stole my seat. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry.
I mean, to be fair, though, it's dark, and you're supposed to be like, oh, your seat is G11. And you're like, I can't even see the G, bro.
Yeah, and you're in a movie theater, and of course I don't really think we need to be too particular about, like, hiding names of movie theaters and that kind of stuff. So we were over at the Lloyd Center in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And so we thought that the movie theater was in the Lloyd Center.
Oh, yeah.
And then it turned out to be across the street. And so Arthur and I were just walking around the mall looking like buffoons trying to find this damn movie theater. And we went up to ask this one guy who was in a kiosk, and he's like, oh, it's across the street. And of course, this is like less than 5 minutes before the movie starts. And so we're just like, fuck. And we just are power walking our way over to the movie theater.
At this point, the movie's already started, actually, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But
yeah, that was definitely really, really awkward.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm pretty sure normally they are not in the... No, actually, no, the one in our mall is in... I don't know. But to be fair, I feel like I misled you because I went to that same theater for the Konosuba movie. I should have known.
Arthur.
I forgot. I totally forgot.
Okay, so one thing that I always say, so that one thing. One of the things that I really enjoyed about just the whole being in a movie theater is that this is the first time I was in a movie theater at all in like a year
I
and
was
a half.
I was going to bring that up just now. It has been a very long time since both of us have went into a movie theater because, you know, the whole COVIDs and stuff like that, right? Because at the time of recording, mask lift is just happening. I don't know. Maybe you're watching this in like 2025 and COVID is in the history books. I don't fucking know. Probably not 2025.
God, that's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, the disease where it killed million or thousands of people, and all you had to do was stay home. Couldn't even do that, Zach. They couldn't even do that.
See, us antisocial people won COVID because we just didn't want to be around people anyways.
I think COVID was just one huge natural selection play.
Jesus Christ, what a tangent. Okay, so being in the
Go
movie
ahead.
theater at all, especially right after the whole shit show of COVID, it was very fascinating. And the last time I saw a movie was probably in like December of 2019.
Yeah, same. Honestly, to be honest, yeah, because I didn't even probably earlier than that. I the last time I went into a movie theater was literally Avengers: Infinity War.
The last time I went into a movie theater was Avengers Endgame.
Or Endgame, sorry. Yeah. Endgame. I watched Endgame in the theaters as well. Sorry.
Wait, did we watch Endgame together?
No, I don't think so. Because I went with my family, so I don't think so.
Okay.
Right? It's been a while, Zach.
I don't know.
It's been a very long time. So yeah, being in the theater again. Even as a I wouldn't call myself antisocial or introverted. I would say I'm both in the way that I enjoy being by myself, but I also enjoy being not by myself, but I don't seek to be either or.
Right.
Just if one happens, then I'm fine with it. If one or the other happens, I'm fine with both, basically. But it has been a while since I had that interaction and just being around people and, you know, laughing at funny things and being sad with other people for sad things and stuff like that. It's been a really long time. So I don't know. There's something about just being cramped in a room full of strangers and crying about anime. I don't know. It sounds so poetic to me.
Yeah, because it was. You know, when you say it like that, it sounds really weird, but at the same time, it really makes sense. Just being in a crowded room full of people who you don't know, just watching the same story, and just being a sad boy about it.
Right?
Because you and I were both talking about this too. This movie, it just felt like it was going to end so much sooner than it actually did, and things just kept happening and happening and happening.
It was quite the roller coaster.
Yes.
It was, yes.
But that's also just kind of the way of the land in Japanese dramas.
Yes.
And
Asian drama. Tragedy.
Yeah.
Is how I like to explain or describe Asian dramas, because here's a good example, and this is a good example because if you probably haven't seen Asian dramas or anything, you know, probably most people haven't. I'm speaking to the viewer at this point and the audio listeners. Train to Busan. Do you know of that movie?
I do not.
You don't? Oh,
I
interesting. That's actually very popular. It's in Netflix. It's a zombie movie. And basically, zombie outbreak happens, yada, yada, you know, the whole shebang. And the safest place, this is based in South Korea. Probably not, you know, who fucking knows? Maybe North Korea is going on this type of shit. Anyways, maybe I shouldn't say that because there's microphones in these headphones. But anyways, it's a zombie movie. The safest place they have is Busan. So they're taking a train to Busan. That's the title.
Yep.
And the zombies get on the train, and it's a whole thing of just like, I mean, you know, who should you save? Personal vendettas and that type of stuff. So, you know, it's very interesting. And I, as someone who doesn't watch like zombie movies, horror movie, I wouldn't really consider it horror. But I guess thriller, I guess. Someone who doesn't really watch that, I enjoyed it a lot. But what happened, and I'm not gonna spoil anything, don't worry. But what happens is just a lot of misfortune happens, and things happen, and you think things are gonna go well, but it just doesn't.
Right.
Like you really want the happy thing to happen, and then things just don't happen. The happy thing just doesn't happen, and then it just keeps going. That's basically how Asian dramas go, because
it's just sadness and then
more sadness. It's a snowball effect of sadness. And then you just imagine the plot graph, right? The rising action, the climax, the falling action, the resolution. Right. It's not linear. It's like this, or like it's like a triangle, but with the right angle, and the vertical side is the falling action. So there's no falling action. It's just rising, climax, and then resolution.
Yeah, there's like this much resolution, so it's like a right triangle, right?
Yes.
Pretend this is a right triangle,
but it's
that way.
Yeah, yep.
And then it's just like that much resolution.
Yeah, that much. I mean, there could be, but there usually is a resolution, but it's bittersweet. And this is how Asian dramas work, because I don't really know why. I guess we're like sadistic like that. I don't fucking know. But that's how that goes, and I think that is a good representation of how a drama like Josie might go. Obviously, not to the same extent as a zombie movie.
Right.
No zombies, I don't think. But they're assholes. There are assholes. But things just kind of keep happening, like you said, you know, and you can really just imagine there being a resolution at any point, but it just kept going. Things just kept happening, and then eventually it reached a resolution. And we're like, let's go, finally. Why didn't you end? But no, it was great, but it was for a reason, and everything was really pretty. And I do really enjoy the the pacing of it, because the way I describe it, it's slow, but it keeps moving forward despite being slow.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know. It's like, imagine something that is slow moving, but it never stops.
Like a train.
Like a train, but trains are fast. Imagine a train but slow, but it doesn't stop. There's no stops. It just keeps going. Point A, point B. There's no stops. But it moves slower than a car. I would not want to go on that train.
Fair enough. Yeah, and another part that I really enjoyed was the fact that it was only an hour and a half,
Yes.
but it felt like it was like 2.5 hours long.
Yes.
And that was
it was only an hour and a half, and we came out the theater and we were like, dude, that was great. And you were like, oh man, that was a great 1.5 hour movie. And I was like, what? And then I checked my phone. Oh, it's only been an hour and a half.
Yeah, and
I really thought it was like 3 hours, honestly, because so much happened.
right. And that's my favorite part about anime movies, is that they pack so much information, they pack so much storytelling, and so many different aspects to it. And then you don't really realize how long you've been there. And Your Name is another really good example of that, because
Yes.
I looked at the time of it and I was like, oh, it's only like an hour and 40 minutes, that'll be fine. And then by the end of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I just went on like a 3-hour emotional adventure. And then I looked at my phone and it was like, we started the movie at like 8 p.m. and it was 9:45, and I was like, oh,
Like, oh, really?
Wow. Yeah, a lot of things just happened and I have no idea. Like, I just got lost in the ether for an hour and a half.
Yes. Just literally, it's the time shift, Zach.
The time shift.
The time demons.
Some context. So
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
so there will be certain times when, also we're getting a little meta, so sorry audio listeners.
Well, I mean, just all the listeners.
all of the listeners.
All the listeners.
So basically, there will be certain times when we come to the set, we get everything set up, and our cameras normally don't move.
No, they do
And
not.
so unless we move them, they don't go anywhere. And sometimes we'll have everything set up the exact same way that we had it last week, and something will just be ever so slightly different, and we have no idea what it is, and we just blame it
Yes.
on the time shift.
It's
And
the time shift, because we don't change anything. I don't change anything. And if I change something, I put it back. And it's usually not the cameras. So why is it so that if I have a camera on a tripod and I leave it there and I don't touch it, next week it's in a different position and we can't put it back in the original position? Why does that happen? Time shift.
And also, he's gesturing at my camera because my camera is on a tripod
yes,
that
his camera
does not move.
Yes, it doesn't move. It has not moved since we started, or barely, since like episode 2.
Yeah.
It's just sat there, and it changes the time shift. Everything in this room just ever so slightly moves, just shifts, like Pangea.
I swear it's like your brother comes in here and just like moves things like
If he
an
does that,
inch.
he's getting his shit beat in. No way, dude. He would not do that to me. Would he? No, I don't think so. That'd be way too petty. That'd be way too specific of a way to bug me. That's way too calculated.
It would be so funny though, because that's the only explanation that I have. Like, the only explanation that I have for this stuff happening is Alvin just coming in here all sneakily with like a mischievous, like stereotypical like
Alvin would not do that. Dude.
mischievous
I can't even
grin.
picture
It's just
Alvin.
like-
Even as someone who knows how Alvin is in every single persona, Alvin can't do that. Alvin is my brother, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes, and you guys probably know of him because I tweet about him sometimes. He watches anime too. Probably at this point more than me as far as volume goes, but I've watched longer than him, of course. And his taste is like the most universally accepted taste. Like, he just likes all the really, really good shows, and there's no shows that he watch. Like, there's no guilty pleasure watches. There's no like if you go on my list, frankly, you're gonna find some weird shit. You're like, "You really, Arthur?" I'm like, "Hey, you know what? I was just having a time. You know, I saw it, and I was like, you know what? I'll watch it. You know, sometimes you have shows like that.
right.
You
Yeah.
know, and it might be anime or not. Sometimes you're just like, this show looks so fucking stupid. I'm gonna watch all the seasons.
Yeah, you're like, I'm gonna binge watch this entire show because literally I have nothing better to do.
Well, in a
And-
time, yeah, in high school days, you know, me watching anime early days, I just wanted to watch anime. I didn't care what it was. I just wanted to just watch, you know. So I just watched whatever, no matter how dumb it was, no matter how like fan servicey it was, no matter how serious it was. I was like, this is an anime. Is this anime? Yes, I'll watch. As long as it's not horror. Then I'll watch it.
See, I'm kind of the same way about horror movies. So I'm kind of like a horror movie buff. And that's horror, not whore. I'm also,
That too.
That too.
Yes. Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
So I just kind of watch horror movies just because it's fun, and I'll watch a bunch of like YouTube videos about certain movies, and just like, you know, the Saw movies, or you know, the Paranormal Activities, all of those types of things. And I just watch them no matter how stupid they are, just because a really stupid, dumb, stereotypical horror movie turns into a comedy very quickly when you become desensitized to like the horror elements of it.
I can see that, yeah.
So it's just like, I'm kind of the same way as you are with certain anime and like all of that kind of stuff. It's just like, oh, is it scary? No? Whatever. I'll watch it anyways. I'll just make fun of the stupid horror movie tropes that are in it.
Yeah. I mean, when you have like back then I didn't have an anime subscription, but there were ways to watch it. And, you know, when you just have that library of just things to watch, sometimes you're just like, yeah, I'll watch it. Screw it. You know, the key visuals, the cover art, the cover looks good. Fuck it, I don't know. Animations looks okay. I'll watch it. So sometimes, animation looks shit. Yeah, I'll watch it. You know, sometimes there are shows like that you watch. But my brother, he just like watches all the. Here, let me give you an example. All right. This doesn't mean a lot to you, Zach, but this will mean a lot to the people listening. Let's see. Just going off top of my head. He's watching Slime with me, so that's going. Parasite. Full Metal. I think he's only watched Brotherhood, but not the first one. Or is which one? I don't know which one is which. The one that everybody likes. Oh god, my brain is slipping me. Okay, well, you get what I mean, right? He watches all the ones that everybody likes, and he doesn't have any weird ones. Or none that's kind of like if you go through his list and you've watched a lot of anime, you'll be like, yeah. There's none that would be like, oh, really? Like, there's nothing that defines your taste, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes those weird guilty pleasure stuff, or that weird show, obscure show, or whatever it is that isn't really the most universally accepted, to see a taste in a man, you know?
Right.
Right? Like, you can get a feel for like, oh, he likes this type of stuff, you know? Just by that off show, you know? Because, I mean, the reason why they're so universally accepted is because they're good shows, of course, right? Even I think they're good shows, and even if I haven't watched it, I understand those are good shows. But then you go through the list and you're like, oh, that's an interesting one. Why do you like that one, right? And then that's how you define the taste of a person who, or an anime taste of a person, right? Like, I have this really funny joke where it's like in my Discord channel, or my Discord server,
my Discord server. If
you do bit.ly/chat, you can join as well. Nice. So it is basically, there's this, I think I've described it before, when we were talking about economy. I think we had an episode talking about stuff like that, right? Something like that.
I don't remember, but that sounds like something we would talk about.
That sounds like something. To be fair, we just talk about things and then just forget about it. So
yeah, okay. So I'm gonna go off on a little bit of a tangent, but it's so
we're supposed to be talking about Josie, dude. Go ahead, Zach. Go ahead. We're off the rails. Let's keep going.
Okay, so
there are no rails. This train is all terrain. We're just in the mountains right now. We're plowing through the mountain, actually. There's
okay, my favorite part about listening to the episodes back, because I'm the person who goes and kind of picks out where we're gonna make clips and all of that kind of stuff. So I love watching and just skimming through, and I'll skip like 10 minutes and we're just talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
And then I skip another 10 minutes. It's like, so we'll start talking about, for example, like I don't know, freaking Apple versus Android, and then we'll start talking about the economy, and then we'll start talking about like Bitcoin, and then we'll just start talking about like a bunch of things that remind us of the thing that we were talking about 15 minutes ago that has nothing to do with the conversation that we're having now. That's basically how every single episode has gone so far, and this is basically a human embodiment of what ADHD looks like.
Why do you think there are no timestamps in here, Zach?
Exactly.
I can't have timestamps.
You
There were no
literally
time-
said
I would, yeah.
episode 1, you were like, there's no way I'm going to be able to timestamp this because I know how our conversations go. And you know what? We are just proving you right. Like, past Arthur would, if he saw into the future, like, you know, however many episodes in we are right now, if he could see just the tangent-filled, unhinged chaos of our show, he'd be like, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's about right. Anyways, what the fuck was I even talking about?
So
Economy, of course, duh. As a couple guys like us might talk about.
no, you were talking about
guys like
something
us.
that you brought up when we were talking
Yes,
about
my
economy.
Discord server, bit.ly/uwchat. So basically, there's this bot. I think I've described it before when I was talking about when we were talking about economy in like one episode or so. There's this bot, this Discord bot called Mudai, and basically it's just a gacha bot. And gacha, I think I've explained it before, is basically just lottery except for anime characters and anime girls and stuff like that.
Oh, we have talked about this before.
Yes, basically the casino that you want to play because it's more fun. Because would you rather win money or would you rather win JPEGs?
JPEGs.
Yes, exactly. Of course, no brainer, right? No brainer. I value my JPEGs, Zach. Sometimes PNGs. Who knows? So,
some people be like, "Do you think I know what a JPEG is?"
So basically, what happens is like a normal gacha. You roll. You get 10 rolls per hour, and you can, when you roll a random character from this massive database of just characters, both anime girls, anime boys, etc., from games too. So it's crazy. It's super huge how big the library is, to the fact that I can't even recognize 90% of these characters. But it's great. So basically what happens is you roll 10 times per hour, and then you get a random character, and then they have a value, a stock value, if you will. They call it kakura, but we'll just call it stock just for layman's terms, because that's what it is. And then you can choose to claim them if you want, and you would obtain them, right? And then you obtain their stock. So basically what happens is you build your stock like that, and then sometimes you can claim characters that you want, right? Characters that you like, the girls that you like, the boys that you like, right? And then you can claim them, or you claim characters that you know other people like for trade fodder, for business deals, Zach. For characters that you want, for characters of equal stock, right? So this economy is created, and it's fucking hilarious. Now, more so, what happened now is that we've done it for so long that all the big characters are taken, so now the only characters that we want are, this is where I'm getting to now, all the characters that are left, basically, are the ones that don't have the highest stock, but now these are the characters that I like to say defines your taste as a man. Because they don't have the highest stock. So there's no other reason to get them other than the fact that you like this character. So now this is where you find out what is your taste? Who do you like? What show do you like? What type of girl do you like? What type of guy do you like? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's my comparison I'm trying to make to a comparison of something that I don't remember what it is, but you probably remember what it is, listeners, if you are listening. But I can't remember what the fuck the comparison was for.
So it was.
Wait, what was the comparison for?
We were talking about Alvin's taste.
That's what it was.
Yes, we were.
Oh, he just has the top tier girls from Mudai chat. They're great girls. That's just what everybody wants them. So there are no random outlier girls that are like, oh, nice, from there, or oh, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From that show, from this girl, out of all the other girls, or whatever it is, right? That's basically his taste, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I don't know. It's just boring, Why would you like to have the same taste as everybody else? Wouldn't you rather have some really weird guilty pleasure? Just to be like, oh yes, this is me.
Yes.
Yes. How do you define a person? By the things that everybody else likes, or the weird thing that they like?
Ah, yes, bikini bottom.
I knew you were going there, and I was trying really hard for you not to.
Ah.
Yes. Okay, look. You know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
The weird shit.
It's like the types of things that you enjoy, that you like, that
Yes.
is kind of unique to you in a small group.
Yeah,
of
well, I mean, it doesn't
people.
have to be weird. It's just not the universally accepted. That's all.
Right. Yeah, it's so funny, dude. Just knowing that your brother grew up around you, and I just know how much of a goofy motherfucker you are, and like he's
Well-
just so normal, like he's just a normal, properly integrated human being, and I just imagine
He's the
like,
son my parents wanted, so good for them.
Yeah,
And then I'm here.
you're just
I'm just here.
you just live here, basically.
They're gonna watch this episode at some point.
Are they? I don't know, dude.
Well, my mom has watched like 2 or 3 episodes, and we're on episode. I don't forget what episode we're on right now. This is heavily backlogged, but yeah, they watched some of them, and my family watches some of them. I hope not with their kids, but I know that some of my younger cousins know that I have this podcast. I really do hope. I mean, we definitely need to do a disclaimer, a language disclaimer warning at the very least. But it's okay. I'm okay with cursing in front of kids. Well, I am, Zach. I'm being serious.
Well, yeah.
Here's the thing, Zach. Tangent number 57 of this episode.
Wait, before you tangent
Okay,
away,
go
can
ahead.
I say one thing?
Go ahead, say it.
So
Fuck kids. Keep going.
no, don't fuck kids.
No, don't do that. Stop. Don't.
So
Go ahead.
okay, so the weird thing about having a show like this is that I'll have people in my family, like my extended family, like my aunts and uncles and cousins and that kind of stuff. They'll sit there and be like, "Oh, so I heard you have a podcast." And I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What's it about?" And I was like,
Oh.
"Anime." And they're like, "Oh." And I'm like, "But it's about other stuff too." And they're like, "Oh." And then they like, you know, they're the normies who are freaking baby boomers who just have no understanding of anything other than freaking Days of Our Lives and All My Children. You know, it's like they've watched every single season of Law and Order SVU, and they think
Yep.
that is fine drama right there. Nothing against Law and Order SVU, Mom. If you're watching this, I love you very much. But you know, they know
Watch some
nothing.
Asian dramas. You'll have the time. Anyways, go ahead. You'll have a time. I promise.
So when I talk to them about what this show is about, and I mean, obviously it's unhinged chaos, and it's basically the human embodiment of ADHD brain, but a lot of the stuff that we talk about is it does have some type of relation to anime, and so, you know, it's just like I see what you say all the time, like the normies perspective on anime, because I see it all the time. And like we went to go see this movie, Josie, the movie that we started talking about in this show that we are no longer talking about. And my brother was just sitting there giving me a bunch of shit about it because he was like, "Oh, it's probably some hentai bullshit." And I'm like, "Bro, you do no,
it's not.
It's not.
You know?
It's just like any type of like.
It's any movie. It's like
It's-
another movie. It
yeah.
just happens to be animated.
It just happens to be in Japanese.
Yes. That's literally it. That's all anime is. It's
Yeah.
just Japanese cartoons.
That's literally it.
Anime is just a short form of just animation. That's it. You know? But you know, it's whatever. That's how I lived. That's how I live my life. I'm on Twitter. Well, not anymore as so much so, but since I was in the COD scene, I was technically in normie Twitter for the most part, as I like
Right.
to call it. So anytime I try to do my shit or whatever, tweet anime, talk anime, they're like, "Bro, shut the fuck up." And I'm like, "Man, don't you have a video game to play? Fuck you, bro." You know, I'm just
dude,
living
don't
my
you-
life, man.
Don't you have some 360 no scopes to do?
All right. See, if you say
Okay.
360 no scope, then now you normally talk the COD talk. Because now you see what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
you say 360 no scope YY fakey, that's the same thing as saying, "Oh, isn't all anime just hentai?"
Fair.
There you go. There's a comparison you can see. There you go. There's a good comparison that if people listening probably understand the COD side. At least maybe not at this point if you're this far, maybe or maybe not. But that's a comparison. If you think all anime is fan service, a bunch of like cringe, just tentacle hentai,
Right.
then that's the same thing as just saying, so you snipe on call. Oh, so you do YouTube like Ninja?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I
He doesn't even do YouTube.
Yeah.
He just does Twitch. You know what I mean? Oh, you do trick shot. So like the YY fakey fake. That's what that would be, right?
Yeah.
So, with that being said, speaking of normies, let's go back to Josie and let's talk about the theater experience because some kids that were sitting in front of us.
Yes.
Dude, I was so fucking... Okay, so it wasn't... So, basically, like I said, we had assigned seats, and we sat behind some, like 16, 17-ish year old kids? Maybe even... Yeah, like 16-ish.
Yeah, so there I think there was two groups of...
I think there were two
people?
different groups, but there were two
Yeah.
girls and two dudes.
Yeah, so the two people who were sitting in front of me were just completely fine. And so Arthur, I'm sorry for that.
Oh, dude, the two not even they're boys. They're children. Fucking children, dude. What are you doing here in a group in a theater room of adults? Bro, get the fuck out of here. Listen. I made a tweet about this and I was like, dude, Demon Slayer's in the theater over there. Demon Slayer's in the next theater over. Go watch your kids show.
Oof.
Go watch your kids show. We're watching an adult. Shut the fuck up. Because these kids kept like not like they were whispering and they were like laughing on like parts that weren't like supposed to be serious. Like it wasn't enough to distract me from. Well, it did distract me, but it wasn't enough to take away from the movie because I still enjoyed the experience and I still enjoyed watching it, of course. But they were so fucking like they kept talking and I was like, oh my god, shut up. And I felt even more so bad for the couple next to me because they were directly behind them, so they probably got the most of it.
Right.
And this girl that was sitting next to me, bro, she was like sitting like this, you know, like
Right.
forward. She was into it, you know. And I mean, I would have been the same way, but I was in default position, lean back, so I was not moving. If I moved, I would have ruined everything, you know. So I'm you know, when you get that sitting position, you're like, I sit. I no move.
It's so weird because I'm such a fidgety movie watcher. Like even just sitting here, like I've been sitting here swiveling the whole time, and I'm
Yes.
sure you've watched it. But when I get like super emotionally invested or like I get very sucked into a movie,
Yes.
I just sit there and I don't move.
Right.
Like at all. Which is weird for me because I'm pretty sure you have probably only ever seen me sit completely still for all of like 5 minutes without wanting to explode.
Well, I mean, you're super immersed into it, right? And you're just
Right.
like you're not even in this world right now. Dare I say? Oh God, excuse me, that was gross. Like consciously at least, right?
Right.
You are in a different spot. You are putting yourself in the world of whatever movie you're watching, whether it be the Josie, the anime, another anime movie, or just whatever movie you're watching, and that's the point, right? Escape. Not escapism, well, but that could also be it too as well. But you're escaping into this world, and you frankly don't want anything around you to bring you back into this real world right now.
Right.
That's what happens when you watch a movie, and that's what these fucking kids didn't understand.
Right.
These kids need to fuck off. Why would you even do that in a normal movie? Why are you like going for? Shut the fuck! What are you? Do you do that in other movies? Are you kids? They are kids. What do you mean? I'm not saying are you kids. You are kids. What are you doing? Why are you watching Josie? Shouldn't you be watching Spider-Man or something like that? I love Spider-Man, but why are you watching? Why are you here? Why did you even pay tickets to be here?
Right.
What of all the anime movies to watch?
Right. Like
Demon Slayer movie came out a while ago. Jujutsu Kaisen movie. By the time of recording, only key visual is out, so it's not going to be out. That's another mainstream anime. There are movies for them. That's fine. I'm not saying it's like Demons. I love Demon Slayer. I'm going to get you to watch Demon Slayer, you know?
Right.
But that's a kid's show. No, I'm just kidding. It's not a kid's show. But compared to like Josie is like a much more mature, a much more patient, a much more sit down and ingest or digest rather, you know, type of movie, type of media, type of content.
Right.
It's not the shonen like Demon Slayer, like crazy shit happening and explosions and fight scenes and stuff. It's not like that. The plot devices and the drama that happens are going to be what those fight scenes are supposed to be. At least in this form, because this is still technically shonen. Shonen meaning for boys, so media directed towards like the male audience.
Right.
But you're not getting the super explosion heroic fight scenes. You're getting emotional and yelling and that type of stuff. You know, that's what and watching character development break and repair. That's what you're watching here. This is an adult film.
Right.
Not like a XXX film. That's not what I mean. But you know, this is a mature film. This is a film that you are okay with being patient and figuring out everything, and then watching it collapse. You know, this is something that you just, because anybody can just watch the Demon Slayer movie and just watch crazy shit happen. It'd be great. I haven't seen it, by the way, yet at the time of recording. But I'm not saying it's okay. I feel like I need to say this, otherwise the Demon Slayer community is gonna get fucking pissed at me. I love Demon Slayer. I'm not in the camp where I'm bashing demons, because Demon Slayer is also the anime. Like, in my opinion, it is the current normie anime. Well, I guess Jujutsu Kaisen is, but it is the normie anime at the moment. Like, for a good reason though, because it's very good. And frankly, I would recommend Demon Slayer before I recommend like Naruto. But it is, the community is pretty, how do I say it? Diehard fan, like, they're pretty hardcore, I guess. So let me say, and then there's also a stigma of like, if you like Demon Slayer, your taste in anime is just bad or whatever. I don't know. It's some bullshit. I don't know. It's stuff I don't follow, because I think community and bashing other characters and other people's waifus and stuff is so fucking stupid. And I don't mean bashing other, like, it's wholly tangent. I'm sorry, because go ahead.
So one thing that I will say,
go ahead,
is certain people watch shows for certain reasons. Some people watch it for the characters, some people watch it for the action, some people watch it for this, that, and the other thing. So depending on what you're watching a show or movie for, there are certain shows for that. And Demon Slayer is a perfect example of like the action and, you know, all of the crazy things that are happening, like you were just saying. And movies like Josie are very much a buckle up and get ready for the ride, because you're about to go on a personal journey. And there's nothing really that crazy that happens. But that's not what you're there for. You're there for watching these characters grow and develop and become their own people and do their own things. And, you know, you are emotionally invested into this person. And so, like you were saying, watching their character kind of
their growth, their collapsing and their repairing, and the way how they deal with things that happen, like, you know, what real life humans might do when things, because life happens and things happen, what do you do about it? That type of thing. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm older now. 21, old we're old people.
Old man.
Old men here talking about anime.
Also, another thing, I just found that Josie is nominated for Best Animation Film and Animation of the Year over in Japan.
Nice. Okay, good. If it was here in the West, then it's probably going to lose some Disney film, so it's whatever. Because A Silent Voice lost to Boss Baby.
Are you fucking kidding me?
So you haven't seen Silent Voice yet. I'm going to get you to watch it. But I don't know if I want to stack...
Boss Baby?
I'm being serious. A Silent Voice, like, not only is a story fanatical... Was that the right word? Awesome. Sorry, I guess. Or crazy. It's a drama as well. And it's about the deaf girl, like I said.
Right.
The deaf girl and the bully. The animation is so fucking crazy. Like Kyoto Annie, I'll get you to watch the Kyoto Annie anime soon, whether that be the anime or a movie. But the production value is just like, whew, like all the stops are pulled. It's just like it's not like Your Name, but it's a little different. It's like, it's more, I don't know. You'll see what I mean when you watch it, but just get that the production is like fucking crazy, and you've seen how anime production can be.
Right.
It loses to Boss Baby.
fucking why. Okay. So here's one thing that pisses me off probably more than most things. I'm putting my mouse down and I'm gesturing with both hands.
Let's see it. Let's see it.
Okay. So it makes me really upset when you have two movies that are catered to two entirely different audiences, right? Boss Baby and A Silent Voice. And then they are supposed to be compared to each other in some fashion or another. And obviously, as when it comes to just pure popularity and just pure eyeballs on the screen, Boss Baby's going to win because it's catered to fucking children, right? Whereas A Silent Voice, not only was it made in the East, so it's different, it's a different animation style, it's a different storytelling style, everything is entirely different. I don't understand why they were even remotely put in the same ranking, because like Boss Baby...
Well, Boss Baby is 3D animated.
Yeah, exactly.
First and foremost.
And also, A Silent Voice is animated based on hand drawing.
Yes. Well, okay.
Okay, well, to a certain extent. Digital, like...
Yes,
people,
it's drawn. There's
people
drawn. There's CG
are,
elements, sure,
yeah.
but it's the main style is drawn, yes. Digitally, of course, but yes, hand-drawn.
So you take something that is hand drawn to a certain extent onto into digital animation, and then compare that to fucking Boss Baby, where it's just 3D models walking around, just like doing all that kind of stuff. It's just entirely different.
Look, I understand it's that's still hard. I understand, animation. I get it. It's hard, And I've never seen Boss Baby, but I'm sure everything else, it's not like I can just pick it up and do it, of course, but. I agree. You can't compare them because they are different things. I don't know really how nomination works for those type. I don't even remember what it was for. It was for some sort of award movie. I don't follow them, so I don't know what they are.
It was probably for like best animation or something like that.
Like the actual show itself, like the Oscar or whatever. I don't think it was Oscar, but maybe it was. I don't fucking know. But it's just best animated film. So since they're both animated, that's the category. And then there's just a huge list of shows. People vote. So frankly, getting nominated is pretty cool already.
Right.
But Boss Baby? Really? It's just because people saw A Silent Voice. Oh, anime? Nah. That's it.
But it was nominated for a reason.
It was nominated for a reason because it was really good, and half the people didn't fucking see it because they're watching because they watch shit like Boss Baby. If people watch Boss Baby, then frankly they don't deserve anime.
Okay, so here's something that frustrates me a lot. So you have animes that are dubbed or subbed.
Yes.
And obviously, don't watch dub. Do whatever you want, but...
Do what you want, but don't do that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Do it. All right, go ahead.
So if you watched an English dub for an anime, it's basically it's
a cartoon here.
It's a cartoon.
It's a show.
It's just drawn differently.
Yes.
And so I don't understand what the problem is for people who are like, ew, anime's gross. Well, then you be gross, watch the English dub, and then tell me that it's still bad. Because obviously, the difference between sub and dub, those are like...
We've already gone into it. It's all good. We already know. You just watch sub. Conclusion. There you go.
Yeah, basically. So there are ways that you can get people who aren't really into anime. And getting used to that type of animation style can be a little bit jarring for some people. For me, I grew up on the Narutos and the Dragon Ball Zs and like all of the stupid normie anime from the early 2000s. And so I'm used to that. And it wasn't very jarring for me to go into that kind of art style again.
Yes.
But for people who have never watched any type of anime, it could be like, oh, this is weird. I don't like this. This is different. But it's so fucking pretty, dude. It's so good. Like,
look what I've done to this child. Look what I've done to this man. I did this. I raised this boy. I raised him.
You did. You kind of did, actually. I've known you for like 14 years.
Yes, but I turned you into this anime appreciating, freaking worshiping. I did this. See how did I do this? How did I do this? I just made him watch anime.
Well, you didn't make me. That's the thing.
Yes.
You sat me down and you were like, "Hey, listen, I want you to watch this one show. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch anything else with me." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine." 12 episodes later, I was like, "Wow, this is a fucking banger. I want to watch another one." Another 12 episodes, and I was like, "Wow, that's really great." And then we watched Your Lie in April. I cried a little, and I was like, "Wow, that's fucking great." And then we've watched movies, we've watched shows, we've watched movies that were a continuation of the shows. It's like everything that you've shown me has been really high quality, and I've enjoyed it for the simple fact that it was a compelling story and it was written in a compelling way, and also it was beautifully designed. And that's how most of the really good animes are created. Good story, good animation, good characters. That's it. And that's what we talk about, because that's the stuff that we care about.
Yes.
Because we're not just going to sit here and be like, ew, anime, gross.
I mean, this podcast so far, I mean, if you're this far into the podcast, you already know by now. I don't need to explain it to anybody, because we're like, 10 or so, 15 episodes deep at this point. You know that the things that we talk about aren't just like our favorite waifus and shit, right? That's not what this is. We're breaking down the storytelling. We're breaking down the storytelling elements. We're breaking down all of that type of stuff, right?
Right.
The not the fact that it's anime, the fact that it's a produced film,
right,
or show. That's what we're talking about, because that's all it is.
Right.
It just happens to be a different region,
right,
and different style. That's the only difference it is from something that's from here. So, what was the point of this? Oh yeah, fucking Boss Baby. What the fuck, dude? I'm so mad. I'm so mad about that. Like, oh my. Boss Baby? Really? Not even like, I don't know, like Moana or something? Were they in the same? Boss Baby? Really?
So, okay. All right, two hand gesture time. So, it's so hard for me to sit here and understand like why people are so particular about the movies that they watch, and then they'll sit there and watch Boss Baby and be like, inquisitive.
Yes.
I'm like, no.
I swirl my wine to this baby that has a suit on. Yes. And then you watch something that's actually really good, that actually tells a really fucking awesome story. And there is literally a type of anime for every single type of person on planet Earth, and I am totally 100% confident in saying that. Yes.
Because there
are some weird shit out there, Zach. There is some really weird stuff, and I've watched them, and they're really weird. But, there's an audience. There's a reason why it's made. There's an audience.
Right. Anime
is just another, because the same way as there's probably a show or a cartoon in the West that is for everybody and anybody, or not anybody, but for everybody, for something specific. There's a show for that, probably. There's a podcast for that for somebody. There is an anime for that.
Right. Like, okay, think about this. Why in the fuck would Robot Chicken? Have you seen Robot Chicken?
Yes, I've seen Robot Chicken.
Why was Robot Chicken made? Because they knew some weird ass motherfuckers gonna watch it. Us being some
weird motherfuckers, bro.
Yeah, and then you say that, and then when you're talking about a show that's made in the East, that's in Japanese, that's in a different art style, like, oh, that's weird. But seeing this demonic looking claymation of just like the most random shit you've ever seen in your entire life, like, yeah, that is quality content.
Like, can we not agree? Okay, I have my waifus and stuff, so I get it, But for you, right? Okay, now I'm asking you, someone who is just recently not really into waifu culture and that type of stuff.
Right.
You can agree that the design of anime characters are pretty good, right?
Right.
Compared to the West, where it's like exaggerated big heads or slim.
It's just people.
It's just people.
Yeah.
Their eyes are a little bigger and their boobs might be a little bigger. That's about it. What's wrong with... Yeah, sure, whatever.
She literally looks like a person.
My autofocus will grab this because it's a human. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Have you seen, I mean, you don't see it because I see it a lot on Twitter, but there's a lot of, human anatomy studies to make these characters. like muscles, bones, skeletal structures, feet. Like, okay, we joke around like, like weird shit, like, I don't know, like armpit art and feet art, and that's some weird shit. There's a lot of studying to make that shit. Those are anime characters.
Right.
It's the most close to anatomic, in my opinion at least, you can get to like a human in animation form.
Right.
Because if you do that here in the West, it's like, okay, you're wasting your time. That's way too much work.
Right. And if you okay, obviously there are certain shows that are just absolutely fucking weird. But
yes.
I've done a bit of research on the way that certain shows are animated, and it takes so much anatomy to be able to create the likeness of a human being in an animated form. And that's why we've had so many problems here in the West for so long to try to use CGI to replicate or to change the way that somebody looks.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's in a different art style, and it's a little bit less kind of quote unquote realistic in that regard.
How different is it? What if the eyes were not as big?
Right.
That's it. As far as I'm concerned, that's it. And I
Yeah.
mean this because there's some shows like there's a movie that's pretty, or just shows in general. If they ever have like a foreign person, like an American person or whatever, they'll probably animate them the same way. They'll probably just change the facial feature or whatever, and their eyes are smaller. And then when you look at it, they're like, oh, that's just I could see this in a Western film.
Yeah.
Or in a Western animated and two-dimensional animated show or whatever. That's it. It's just their eyes. That's it. It's just their eyes are just too big. Is that it? No, that is it. I'm gonna show you some pictures after this, Zach, of just like a character in an anime, but they're just from the West. I don't know. They're foreign. They're British. They're whatever they are. Their eyes are just smaller, and that's it. And that's their differentiating. Oh, my bad. I fade to black. Oh shit. It's all good. We're back. All right. Anyways,
All right.
I forget I have that keybind. Anyways, I don't know why. I should probably remove it. Anyways, but
my camera can't do that.
Yours can, but mine can. Audio listeners are furious right now.
Are infuriated.
They're Ferrari'd right now.
Yes.
Audio listeners are Ferraris.
So I know that we could sit here and talk about this all day, and I know that this is something that's probably going to be a continuation of the same argument over the course of multiple episodes. Okay, so to tie this entire conversation into, I guess, a
very loose bundled.
a loose kind of bundled knot of ideas. It is this. Josie is a great movie. Anime is great as long as you find one that suits you and one that can get you into anime and all of that kind of stuff. And for me, it was Erased, because Erased is a fucking banger.
The flowchart always works.
The flowchart always works. And number 3, they put so much more work into anime than you would ever really be able to imagine, because it is so much work. And I have nothing but respect for the people who animate these shows and movies, and they are amazing.
Dude, there's an anime literally on making an anime.
We need to watch that. You know, as much as that sounds like a joke, like I'm being for real, like we need to watch it.
No, it's called Shirobaka. It's literally just an anime on making anime.
I'm literally gonna look that up.
All right, go ahead.
Now.
Shirobaka, I think, or Bako. I forget. Anyways, yeah, it's just a slice of life anime of making anime. And it's a little exaggerated, of course, but it's like, yeah, it's just making anime. And there's animes on voice acting, and there's all sorts of animes. Oh, dude, okay, this is super just off topic, but I need to watch
I
this.
found it.
Nice. There's a show we should watch. Because I want to rewatch it. So I think I should probably get you to watch it. And I think this is literally like top 10. It's called Sakuraso. There we go. Some people in the listening right now just pogged right now. Because they heard that, they're like, let's go! Sakuraso! It's about There's a dormitory for a school, and it's labeled like the problem child dormitory. I don't know if they call it that, but in anime terms and manga terms, you would call it like the problem child dormitory because there's a bunch of weird people in it, and they have weird quirks and stuff, or whatever it is, or whatever, right? And then there's this guy who has to live in it, and he doesn't want, or no, he is in it, and he wants to leave because shit gets fucking crazy and shit. Because he's like, I'm a normal person. I'm not like these people. I just want to live in a normal dormitory. I don't have any weird things. I'm just a normal dude. Why do I have to live in a place like this, right? And then a girl comes along, and she is super weird, and shit, but she's super talented. She's like an artist, and she's fucking crazy. And he has to basically, I don't know, it's just this develop. Basically, what this is it's an anime on talent versus hard work.
Right.
Prodigies versus non-prodigies who are working really hard to meet a goal that is just so far away. And then for someone who's just grown up, talented right out the womb, can just do it. And it's like this dynamic of like, I'm trying so hard and this person right next to me is just getting everything, you know, eating it up, soaking it all up, and they're not even trying. They're barely even trying, basically. Or they are trying, but it's like, I'm blood, sweat, and tearing all this type of hard work. Why is nothing going for me? And why is the person literally this person next to me is getting it all, you know? Or not even getting it all, but it's just working out for them. Like, they're right there and they're being successful and I can't be, even though I'm trying so hard. It's a show like that. So I think that would be a very, very crazy watch. And it's a show that you wouldn't expect to be top 10 because that aspect doesn't happen until like a little later. But it happens and you're like, damn.
You're like, fuck.
You're like, shit. I think it's like 20 or so episodes, so it'll be quite a ride. But we gotta watch Demon Slayer first. But yeah, I want to watch it. I want to rewatch it, so maybe I'll get you to watch it too. So that'd be great.
So okay, Arthur,
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to make a list of shows that I need to watch just on my own in my own time.
Yeah.
I think Shido Baka is going to be one of those shows
Yeah.
because it looks.
You don't even
really
have to
good.
wait for me, man. Just go for it. It might even be on Netflix. That's another thing I want to talk about. I think I
Yeah.
already mentioned it already, but there's a lot of animes on Netflix.
So many.
So much more than there ever once was. There was a time. I think we've already talked about it. I'm sorry, but we're gonna reiterate it again because for me it's been a while, and frankly I don't even remember talking about it because everything that enters this microphone and leaves my brain,
Yeah,
leaves my memory.
See, that's the worst part about doing a show like this is that we end up talking about the same thing over and over again. And
I hope we do. Well, we have a doc and then we check it off after we say it, and then at some point we just stop checking them off.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
so
don't know.
we'll sit there and talk about something, and it's not that we're being repetitive on purpose. It's just
We just freaking forgot.
we forgot.
But there's so many shows on anime or in Netflix now.
There's so
there's
many
so many
shows
animes.
on anime.
There's so many animes on shows. There's so many animes on Netflix. And there was once a time where there was one show, and it was Violet Evergarden. And we all watched that, of course, but that was it. Just one show, and it was a Netflix original, Violet Evergarden. I don't know how the fuck they got it onto Netflix. I don't know how much they had to pay for it. And I also don't know why they did it, because frankly, that was the only anime. I mean, it did really well. The show was amazing. Massive tearjerker. So that'll be fun. You're trying really hard for me to just buy the shock mount, aren't you?
Yeah.
Let me press a button on my numpad real quick. Fine, I'll buy the shock mount. Out of principle, I can't. Tangent. Okay. So
Okay, so
there's a lot of shows on Netflix. There's
Yes.
a lot of anime on Netflix. So much that there are even not even just the mainstream, but even some shows that I haven't even heard about, and some shows that are like so like cultured. Like there's like Baki in there, and there's like well, I think there's Attack on Titan, of course, but there's like oh gosh, I have to bring it up because I can't remember. But I love just going through the shows. Like sometimes when I am just in a call with a friend, sometimes we'll just look through anime in Netflix just to see what they have. I mean, obviously it's not a lot, but it's so much more, and it makes it so much easier for the general audience to watch anime because most people have Netflix.
right.
You know, because we're in a age of streaming services, and Netflix being the big one. You know, Netflix and Hulu for that matter, and Hulu has a ton of anime. In fact, before Netflix, Hulu was the one that had a bunch of anime. Not all of them, of course, not like a dedicated anime streaming service, but Hulu was the one that had a shit ton of anime.
So one thing that I will also add on top of what you've been talking about with Netflix and anime. I am not the biggest fan of the subtitles on Netflix.
Okay, yes. I'm not either, but
it's better than nothing.
it's better than nothing. It works. It's fine. It's whatever. I don't like how they use how they do how they don't do solid drop shadow and they have a blur. I don't like how it's way too fast, and I don't like how the sentences just cut as soon as they finish talking. I mean, that's fine, but at least give it a fucking a second or two.
Right.
But other than that, it's there, and people can watch it, and people can watch their shows, and then suddenly a Netflix or an anime show will pop up, and they're like, "Oh, sick!" Just that much, even if they just considered it, as long as they're like, now they don't have to anymore because it's just so easy to watch it now. It's so like, oh, you know what? Oh, this one looks pretty. Out of all the animes that I know, which not a lot, this one seems to be one that looks interesting. Because there's some animes that you don't like, and there's some animes that you do like. And there you go. One just got put on your plate because I'm pretty sure Netflix recommendations do that type of shit, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
That is one of my favorite things about Netflix is that they will recommend a bunch of new shows to you, and they'll say, "Oh, you watch this, you might be interested in this."
Yes.
And that can kind of take you down the Netflix rabbit hole, but also they've gotten that kind of algorithm down over the years to the point to where it's a lot more relevant than you think that it is, especially in the anime section of Netflix, where it just seems like an endless stream of just content everywhere.
There's so much to binge.
Yeah, there's so much to.
I mean,
you're
not gonna get any ongoing shows or anything, but that doesn't matter if you're just starting out. There are
Right.
so many shows to watch, and so many shows that I can recommend. So many shows in the flowchart that are on Netflix. And everybody has Netflix, you know?
I'm pretty sure Erased is on Netflix.
Yeah, Erase is on Netflix.
Yeah.
No Game, No Life is on Netflix. Bunny Girl Senpai might not be. But there's a lot of shows on Netflix, so anybody can just watch it. Unfortunately, I think it defaults to dub, so if you're doing that, go to sub immediately. Don't waste your time. If you go to dub, you're just not going to like anime, period.
Yeah, I watched one episode of the dub of Erased, and it just made me lose my mind.
Yeah. Your Lie in April is on Netflix, I'm pretty sure, too. So,
It is.
Yeah, there's so many. There was a time, Zach, boomer talk time. We're doing it. I have to do it. Where if I said I watched anime, I can no longer speak in that group. I'm the weirdo.
Right.
Now there is not even a single person who hasn't watched like Demon Slayer or Hunter x Hunter or Jujutsu Kaisen.
I mean me, but
the kids nowadays, right? Teenagers growing up, they watch anime. It's part of it now. There is no, like, I was talking with my coworker who was in that age group, and he was like, I was talking to him, and I was like, yeah, when I was in high school, I couldn't really talk about anime. He's like, bro, literally everybody just watches anime. And I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. I wish I lived in that era where I can just talk about anime. Although I don't watch the mainstream stuff, so I wouldn't have anything to talk about. Because everybody in my work, if they watch anime, they watch the mainstream stuff, and they try to talk about anime with me. I'm like, yeah. What's your favorite? Oh, there's this really obscure one about shogi. About chess. And they're like, what I meant to say was Demon Slayer is my favorite anime.
Yeah, you're like, I meant One Piece. That's totally what I meant.
That's what I meant. But no, just that, even that much. Because I always say, you don't have to be a weeb to like anime.
Right.
You can just like anime.
At this point, I am not yet a weeb.
No, I would not consider you a weeb. Not even, maybe close. No, I don't consider you a weeb. You just like. No, once you have a waifu, I think you're closer to a weeb, and I think you'll develop a waifu as soon as you watch Bunny Girl Senpai, or probably. But yeah, you don't have to have an anime poster, and you don't have to wear anime shirts, and you don't have to do all that stuff to like anime. You can just you can just have it in your general rotation, and that's all I say. That's because I feel like when I say, "Hey man, you want to watch anime?" or "Hey, you should try anime out," they think that, oh, if I do, you're probably trying to make me into one of those weebs, right? Where I'm running around Naruto running and shouting "Baka" to my friends and shit. Dude, when the fuck have I ever said that to anyone?
I don't think
I'm a
ever.
weeb and I've never done that. It'd be fun. Maybe ironically.
Okay. Honestly, if you were to do it ironically, that would be the funniest shit in the world. But also at the same time, like it's just, as much as we talk about how great anime is, and it's like, oh, it's not just a drawing, it's a show that is very, very great. But like it doesn't necessarily like, God, where the fuck did my brain just took a commercial break.
It's not, you don't have to get into the culture.
Yeah, you don't have to get into the culture if you don't want to. And
you can watch superhero movies and not be a superhero buff.
Right.
Right?
Exactly. And the same thing applies with all different types of shows and movies and all that kind of stuff. It's like the Doctor Who fans, like the diehard Doctor Who fans. Like, I've watched Doctor Who. I'm not like a diehard fan of it, but I've watched it. And the same thing can be said about anime.
I watch sports and I'm not a diehard fan.
Neither am I.
I love watching NBA. It's not rigged at all.
I love watching
NBA. It's not rigged. It's great. Yes. I watch football. I watch sports. I'm not a diehard fan or anything. I'm not going around wearing a Ducks jersey, even though I enjoy watching Ducks.
Right.
It's just part of I enjoy it. You can enjoy things and not be a diehard fan, and that's basically that's the main thing that I'm trying to get across. My thing, you don't have to like anime. Maybe you watched some good ones and you're like, it's not for me. There you go. It's not for you.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But
that's all it needed to be. But what I don't want you to do is be like, anime is I don't know. Anime is kind of weird and stupid. That's not what I want. I want you to say, yeah, I watched the ones you had me watch, and I don't know, still not for me. There you go. That's fine. Then you can leave. It's all good.
And the nice thing is that the shows that you have in the flowchart are just short enough to where you're not investing a ton of time into like, oh, I need to watch 10 seasons of freaking Attack on Titan to know if I'm an anime fan.
It's one season, 12 episodes, 23 minutes each. Everybody has a Netflix.
Yeah.
Everybody has Hulu. Some people might have Peacock. I don't know. They're weird. They just want Office.
That's really it. It's like,
that's it. Just
you can watch a couple episodes of the show. You can decide if you want to keep watching it. And anime is that genre where it's kind of, they hit the ground running on the first episode, where it's just like everything's happening.
Well, they can or they can't.
They can or they can't.
There's plenty of shows where they don't. I just have the ones where they do, so it's
right.
easier to hook you on. So that way, so I can negate that fact of just like, I don't know, I'm kind of bored, or this is not really intriguing. That's
right.
That's why those animes are in the flowchart, in the front of the flowchart. Not gonna have you watch a 20 episode character development show for your first anime. That might be a little rocky. I don't know, or maybe you're down. If you're down, then hey, I'm down. I watched it.
Exactly.
But yes, I understand. Sometimes it's just, that's fine. It can just be not for you. Like for me, I told you straight up, heavy metal and that stuff is not for me.
Right.
I think we're still friends.
yeah, and I mean that's not a bad thing. That's
No.
just a personal taste thing. And
Yes.
I feel like I kind of threw you into the deep end on metal, because I gave you like a really hardcore playlist of like a lot of really heavy stuff, but at the same time,
I gave it a go.
You gave it a go.
I gave it a go. I didn't say, if heavy metal is kind of some weird shit. I gave it a go. We were in the Discord server and we were listening to it, together in the watch together, which we need to do that, by the way, again. We'll listen to like some just music and more piano stuff. I don't know. That'd be fun. Just I don't know, just to nerd out about random music stuff. Anyways, that's besides the point. I gave it a healthy go. I said it wasn't for me, and there you go. I left. You can give anime a go. Say it's not for you, and take your leave. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
Right.
As long as you left saying, yeah, okay, I can see how someone might enjoy anime. I can see how it could be compelling. I can see how the characters can be appealing. It's just not for me. That's fine. As
Right.
long as you left saying, oh, it's no longer just some weird hentai tentacle porn.
Right.
As long as you leave not thinking anime is the stereotypical anime fan service, boobs, super huge tits, like some badonkalonkadoos, you know?
Some congalodongas.
Yes. As long as you take that away, then I'm fine with that. But
Right.
good for you. You watched some good shows. You said it wasn't for you, and you left. There you go. That's all I was asking. That's all I was asking for. And that's all that anime needs to be, and that's all anime needs to be for most people.
I haven't left yet.
You have not left yet.
No. And
you can leave anytime.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
exactly.
Whatever.
It's
I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
I can stop anytime.
I can stop anytime. I'm not I don't know what you're talking about. It's totally not a problem. And for the people who have watched a show or two and decided that it's not their cup of tea, you know, all power to them. But you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and at the same time, there is such untapped potential all over the place in so many places that you would have never expected.
Yeah, man. I'll try anything once.
Yeah. Maybe not.
I'll try anything once.
Okay.
$20 is $20, Zach.
Jesus. Okay.
But
I have to pee.
do you have to pee?
I have to pee.
Should we end it there then?
I think we should.
I think we end it there. All right. What's the point of the episode? I don't know what the point of the episode. We're supposed to talk about a movie. Anyways, go watch Josie.
Yeah.
It's a very great movie. By the time you're watching it, it's no longer in theaters, but there are ways to watch it. I'll leave that to you. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. As always, thank you so much if you're this deep into the show. If there's again, coffee for direct, coffee and Patreon for direct support. Leave a like, subscribe, the smash button, comment, and let us know what you think. And you know, although we are heavy backlogged, we'll still read the comments and see if there's anything you want us to talk about, even if it's no longer topical. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have. Do you have anything to say?
I love your face.
There you go. I think you said that every time.
Probably.
Still do.
Bye.
Oh,
God.
yes.
Yes.
No shock mount.
No shock mount.
Yes, audio listeners. Yes.
Oh, jeez. No.